Hellhound on my trail. This awesome story is written by Alex Ross Writer. Grab your coffee, sit back and enjoy the show. Not too far from where I live, there's an old stone bridge that overlooks a lake. I've been past it enough to know that it would make a great picture, so one day I decided to head out and take a few. It was sunny and clear out when I left home, and the rest of the day was supposed to be just as good. But when I got to the bridge, it was pretty cloudy, and there was so much mist over the lake that you could barely see anything. Now that I think about it, I don't really remember it getting overcast or foggy. It just kind of happened. But I was already there, so I got my camera out and took a few photos. They were all shit. I couldn't see anything in the viewfinder. There's this little island in the lake, right in the middle, so I thought that might come out well, so I took a few photos of that. It was way too foggy though, so I gave up. I was about to head out to my car when I smelled something. It was really acrid, like something burning, but it was so faint that I couldn't really tell what it was. I looked back at the island. There was nothing there, so I got in my car and headed home. I figured I'd go over my photos on my computer before I deleted them. First one was shit, second one was shit, so were the third, fourth and fifth, and then I got to the island photo. I didn't see it when I was taking the photo, but there was something on the island. I zoomed in all the way and the pixelation was awful, but I could almost see something, like a deer or a moose, or maybe even a big dog standing on the island. I wouldn't have seen the damn thing at all through the fog if it hadn't been for its eyes. It had bright red eyes that distorted the pixels around it. Must have been due to the mist or something, I thought. I went to the next photo, but that one was corrupted. So I went back, but that photo, the one I just saw, that one was corrupted too. I tried to recover the files a couple of times. Didn't work, so I went to sleep and didn't think about the photos again. I work in town. It's not a big town, just one of those places with a Walmart, McDonald's, a couple of mom and pop shops and a bar or two. We had pretty windy weather that week, so when I headed out to my car, no one was talking or anything. They were just trying to get to their cars to get the hell home too. I have to park a couple of blocks away from work because of parking regulations and stuff. There's this really huge tree that grows into the sidewalk on the way there. It makes the path all uneven, and when I got there, I smelled something. It was that same burning smell, except this time it was stronger. It was like burning hair, I realised. I couldn't tell where it was coming from, and no one else was gawking around like me, so I don't think anyone else smelled it. But then I saw something down the sidewalk. It was near this old house that's been vacant for years, right in the front yard. It was a dog, I think, but it was a lot bigger than any dog I'd ever seen before. Its shoulder was probably 3 or 4 feet off the ground, and it had pitch black fur. But that's not why I saw it. I saw it because of its eyes. It had bright red glowing eyes. The wind was really strong that day, really strong. A couple of power lines were down already, and a couple of trees too, especially the older ones, like the one I was standing next to. The branch that fell from it missed me by about a foot. It smashed the roof of the car. It had shattered the windshields and everything. If it had hit me, I'd be dead, no doubt about it. I fell down, so I must have jumped away or something. A couple of people came to help me up, and I asked them if they saw the dog, but when I tried to point it out to them, it was gone, just completely, totally vanished. The smell was still there, but no one smelled it except for me. I got in my car, but I could still smell burning hair, so I emptied a can of air freshener and drove the hell home. That almost covered up the smell. I had a tough time getting to sleep that night. I tried to cook dinner, but I burnt everything, and I live a long way from town, so I couldn't order anything. I ended up eating soup out of a can, but it didn't taste right, so I threw it away. Something was up with my house that night. It was built in the 20s or something, and my grandfather gave it to me when he died. He said that his father built it but couldn't stand living in it, because even though he built it really securely, it creaks all the time. Even when you're all by yourself and not moving, you hear creaking. Sometimes it's upstairs, other times it's downstairs, and sometimes it's even right behind you. But there's never anything there. I guess I've gotten used to it for the most part. But there were a lot of creaks that night. Sometimes there were patters to them, almost like footsteps. And that's not all. A couple of times when I looked out of the windows, I saw weird shadows, like someone or something was walking out there. Eventually, I fell asleep. I didn't have any dreams, at least none that I remember. My alarm clock had been going off for half an hour when I finally got up. I woke up on the couch, even though I remember sleeping in my bed. Maybe I sleepwalked, even though I never had before. I felt like shit. I was groggy and something smelled so bad that it almost made me gag. I'm not a morning person, but that morning was a lot worse. Maybe a shave would make me feel better. I use a straight razor. My grandfather gave it to me with the house, and I keep it honed and ready to go at all times. So I lathered up and started to go at it. My bathroom's pretty small. There's a toilet next to the sink, and behind them is the bathtub. The electricals are always on the fritz. It has been for as long as I can remember, so the light goes off for a split second now and then. Sometimes the current surges and blows out bulbs too, and before that happens you can always smell it burning. And that's what happened that morning. I smelled something burning just as I was starting to shave. I hurried up because I didn't want to be stuck in the dark with a straight razor at my throat. But then I realised that it wasn't the usual burning smell. It smelled like burning hair. It was the same smell in my nostrils since I got up, and I didn't recognise it until then, because it was really strong. Really strong. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked like a mess. My hands were shaking. But there was something dark on the shower curtain behind me. It wasn't my shadow though. My eyes were bloodshot, but its eyes were even redder. I don't know what happened next. I must have fallen back and hit my head against the tub, because I saw stars when I tried to stand. That wasn't the worst of it though. When I fell, I had nicked myself with my straight razor and I was losing a lot of blood. There was some bandages and gauze in the medicine cabinet behind the mirror. I grabbed them and patched myself up, but it wasn't going to last, I could tell. I ran out to the bathroom to call 911, but I couldn't get through. I dialed it carefully a few times, but I just couldn't get through. I got into my car, didn't waste time taking a coat, even though it was pretty cold and windy. I did bring a survival kit though, and my grandfather's shotgun. The wind was really bad that day. Everything I saw was just grey, bleak, like all the colour was gone from the world. The road signs are usually bright green, but even they looked kind of dull. I tried to keep track of the mile markers. That's how I know I'm getting close to town, but I couldn't focus on them for some reason. And even though I drove for a long time, I never got to town. At some point I smelled burning hair again. I tried to ignore it, but it got strong, really strong, and I had to pull over to throw up out of the window. In fact, I pulled over at the bridge, the same bridge that I took the photos at, and I threw up into the water. But the smell was still there, stronger than ever. I had to drive though. My gauze wasn't holding, and I was starting to feel faint. So I took the car out of park, and I was about to start driving when I thought I saw something in the rearview mirror, like brake lights or something, but it was eyes, bright red, glowing eyes. I stamped on the gas and drove the car off the bridge. I remember hitting the water and then I passed out. Somehow I survived the impact. I even got out of the water, and since my shotgun and survival kit were over my lap when I started to drive, I grabbed them too. I had to swim to shore, and I made it, soaked, freezing cold, but alive. My car was gone. There was no way to get it out of the water, and I knew that there wasn't much traffic on the bridge. I'd die before someone came by if I tried to hitchhike. I used my survival kit to redo the dressing on my neck. Then I grabbed a few of the dry branches the wind had knocked down and made a fire. That warmed me up a little bit. I started to hear stuff again. Branches snapping, things moving, stuff like that. Sometimes there would be flickers of motion in the corners of my eyes. But whenever I looked, I didn't see anything. I heard panting too, like a hungry dog, and that was when I sat with my back to the fire. I didn't think to bring any extra shells. I had 2 shots, and that was it. I didn't even know if the shotgun worked. It hadn't been fired in so long, and I'd never even shot a gun before. It was really misty over the lake, so I couldn't see far that way. I couldn't see far into the forest either, but at some point I saw something. I definitely saw something coming at me from the lake. It was a big black dog with shaggy fur that smelled like burned hair. It was walking on water and coming right at me. I aimed for the red of its eyes. I missed the first shot, but I think I hit it with the second one. At least, I think I did. I didn't see it go down, and I didn't hear anything except for the gunshot. But it was gone. I moved away from the fire, just a little bit, for a better look, but the smell was still there. In fact, it was strong. So strong that my eyes teared up and I could hear something behind me. something panting, growling, and starting to move forward. I turned as quick as I could. It wasn't quick enough. And I hope you enjoy the blooper reel. I was about to head to my car when I smelled some... I got in my car, but I could still smell some... Sometimes the current surges and the... the road sign... and I had to pull over to throw out. But the smell was still there. I didn't even know if the shotgun worked. It hadn't been fired. Hey family, please be so kind as to punch the like button and smack the ass of the subscription button as well. And remember to chokehold that notification bell and then select all. That way you'll receive all notifications each time I upload a new video. And by subscribing, you'll be the first to see all of our new spooky creepypasta stories. A very big thank you to Alex Ross Writer for allowing me to narrate this awesome story. And make sure to check out their Creepypasta fandom page for more brilliant stories. And why not hashtag Cryptids Roost in your comments. If you would like to support us and throw me $1 or $3, I'd be very much appreciative. I do have PayPal, paypal.me/cryptidsroost. Alternatively, I have an account at buymeacoffee.com. You don't even need to register on either site to donate. I have a subreddit if you have a story you've written that you would like me to narrate for you. You can also follow us. All my socials are contained within the Linktree link below. And don't forget to check out the end screen. See above. That will also list some more videos in my back catalogue. All the links are below. Take care everyone, and I hope you all have a wonderful and peaceful night. And don't forget, where fear is, happiness is